year is upon us, and with that, a new Inside Manhattan Basketball. Christian Imel here with you, joined by the head coach of Manhattan men's basketball, Steve Masiello. Coach, it's been a bit of a break for you guys after the win over Buffalo. You said you were going to give your team a nice Christmas gift, spend a lot of time with you. How was the break?
It was good. We gave them some time off, actually. Let them go home, see their families, spend a little downtime. Because we had such an extensive break where we played the 21st, then we don't play again to the 2nd. It's hard to sustain the level of practice we want every day for 11 days or 12 days, whatever it may be. So gave the guys a couple days to go home. Got them back here. Basically did like a 2-day mini camp, refresher course of conditioning, drills, station work, and types of things to get them back. And then we've had some good practices as we move forward into our second conference weekend.
Let's go back to that Buffalo contest at the Barclays Center. Team is trailing by 7 with 46 seconds left, and Shane Richards comes up with a big three, and then, of course, free throws late to tie it. You go into overtime and come away with a big win, a big character win for this team.
Yeah, it was just, unfortunate early in the game. It was a situation where our players got tangled up, and two of our guys, Mike and Donovan, left the bench. And they didn't do anything, they reacted. Had that play maybe been at the other end of the court, maybe we don't lose those two guys. So we lose two of our very important players, and we still find a way to kind of gut it out against a very good Buffalo team, which I believe just beat Drexel yesterday. Drexel. But like you said, some big plays down the stretch in the last minute of play. We were fortunate to put the game in overtime, and then I thought our toughness and our ability to make plays. Jordan Bean stepped up, and Mount Brown obviously did some big things, but total team effort, team effort.
You hear it talked about a lot in sports, that next man up mentality. When that situation happens where you don't have Mike or you don't have Donovan for the rest of the game, how much of that next man up did you start to see from some of your players?
I think it's one of the benefits of playing so many guys that we do, so it's really not even for us. A lot of people say, well, you got to get ready. Well, just stay ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And our guys are always ready because they're always playing. There really is no 11th, 12th man on this team because on any given night, whether it's Carlton Allen coming in to make a big play at South Carolina, or Tyree Wilson 15 against Monmouth, or however you want to look at it, all of our guys are very capable and they all have kind of confidence going into those situations because they've done it before. So it's not like we're saying, okay, let's take someone who's never played and put them into it. They've all been there, they've all done it. That's one of the benefits of having a big team.
These last 3 games, what have you seen from Ashton Pankey? Because he seems so much more comfortable and so much more aggressive out on the floor.
Yeah, it's fear. It's fear of me and Carlton Allen. Going into UNC Wilmington, Carlton Allen was ahead of him, and it woke AP up. It's really that simple. He's played terrific basketball, especially at South Carolina and UNC Wilmington. It was just 2 of his better games so far. And I have to be fair to him, because he hasn't played basketball in basically 2 years. And I got to be fair to him in that sense and allow him to get in the game rhythm and game shape, which I am. He's so capable. He changes our team. When Ashton Pankey plays, that way we can become an elite team and really be tough to stop. He's a very good player who at times is guilty of letting one mistake turn into 3. And if we can, and that's what I loved about him in the Carolinas, is that didn't happen. Even if he missed a shot, he ran back, made up for it, broke up a play, got a big rebound. It was one mistake and over. And that's what we preach here. Don't miss a shot, not run back, give up a layup, foul, those type of things. Those compound things, we don't want that. And that's what I saw from the Carolinas. Buffalo, he was good. I thought he was the best in the Carolinas, but we're hoping to continue to see him make growth and take steps in the right direction.
In that Buffalo contest for Shane Richards, to hit that 3, get those 3 free throws, what did that do for the confidence of that young man?
I think it's important to get, when you're a shooter, and I say this all the time, there's no such thing as really slumps. Either you're taking good shots or you're not, or give the defense credit because they're really not allowing you. It's really one of those two. You leave good shooters open, they're going to make shots. Shane just hasn't been able to get a lot of good shots. Let's say part of that's because of us, and a lot of it's because of good defense. And I thought he was fortunate to get to the line, draw some contact, make some big free throws, and made a big 3 down the stretch. And you hope it carries momentum going forward. But the good thing about Shane, and what I love about him, is there's no conscience. He can make the next 20, or he can miss the next 20. He's still going to shoot and continue to shoot the basketball. So it's kind of, You know, he's earned his success already from the time he puts it in the offseason and after practice in the gym. His success is already done. Just a matter of him that's going out and collecting.
With the non-conference now over and you turn your full attention again to MAC play, where is this team in terms of where you expected them to be at the start of the year?
I think we're right on track. I think we're probably maybe a step behind of where I would have liked us, and that's no one's fault, but just simply maybe the rules and the style of play. I'm really happy with the team. Pleased with the record, 9-2. I can sit here and tell you why we should be 11-0, and I can also sit here and say why we should be 7-4 in two different conversations. What I like about us the most is that there's a ton of room for improvement. We had a team meeting. We broke down every statistical category from, like, I'll give you an example. You know how many points we're averaging a game?
Off the top of my head, no.
I believe it's 78.
Okay.
You know what we're shooting from the field?
High.
See, this is why you got to really, the break affects everyone. And
it
when
does.
you get
heavily.
doing this, and he should have this stuff, 41-2, I believe we're shooting from the field. So you tell me, as a coach, put your coaching hat on, what would you be saying right now?
Teams executing well.
No, just the opposite. You're shooting 41%, averaging 78 points. Could you imagine if we start shooting 44, 45%? We'll average 85, 86. Yeah. And you look at Iona, who's the tops, they're shooting almost, I believe, 46% from the field right now, averaging 82. We're not even shooting a good percentage, and we're third in the conference in scoring. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ton of room for improvement. Block shots. I think we're tops in the conference. And
17th in the country.
17th in the country. Mel's 4.2, I believe, a game. Rich Williams and AP haven't even started blocking shots yet. And they're two shot blockers. My point is, we're good, but there's a ton of room for improvement. You wouldn't know any of this because you don't study it all. You just leave when we go on break and then show up when things are good. But when you go home during break and there is no Christmas and you're really just breaking down numbers from, you're trying to find every edge to get greatness, which is what we're all about. You understand that. But you got too much other stuff going on.
Coach leads us into a perfect segue to our fan question. Michael in Yonkers wants to know, how do you keep an edge with this break? Because you've talked about it. When you're on a roll, you want to keep playing.
Yeah.
When you're not, you want to never play again. But how do you keep the edge?
I don't know, and I haven't figured it out. I don't know, because I think it's the hardest thing to do in college basketball is come off a break and play, because you can't simulate games really in practice. You think you're doing the right thing, and what you try to do is really recreate your brand and yourself and get back to basics. Okay, shorten practices, maybe do 2 or 3 a day, but come in hour 15, get them out. Everything's competitive, win or lose. So fast break segment, whoever wins it, there's a winner, there's a loser. And you try to make it really high intensity, crisp, short practices, and focus on things that you want to see results on. Don't do things just to do them, is what we've tried to do. Really, okay, we want to improve in these areas, let's get in and get after it. So those are things we've tried to do. I'll let you know this weekend if it works. I hope it does, but it's one of those things, and it's easier to do it when your record is 9-2 and you're 2-0, because you can be a little more upbeat, you can be a little more in your delivery. That's one of the benefits of why a lot of people think winning breeds winning, because when you're doing things, it is fun, it is good, you enjoy it. It's not you're coming in here and you're mad at the world. So it definitely helps. With a record, but we're trying to just keep our guys fresh, really make them understand what we're trying to get better at, concentrate on certain things, and see what we can get better in those areas.
With the New Year approaching, Jason on Long Island wants to know, any New Year's resolutions for the team?
I don't. I think the one thing that we're just really going to concentrate on, and we've talked about it, but I think we're going to start to make it we're not going to worry about it anymore. Mm-hmm. And I say that with all due respect. All we're going to worry about is this Manhattan team getting better. Not every day, not every practice, literally every hour. But what did we do from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., 10 a.m. to 11 to get better as a team? And if we do that, I really like our potential of where this team can go. That's not to say there aren't a lot of good teams in this conference. Canisius had Notre Dame beat last night. Unfortunate referee call that I just think was a tough break for Canisius. That could have cost them the game, and it might have. But this league is very good, very competitive. But I still feel that if we do what we're capable of doing, we can be a tough team to knock out.
I know you implemented it beforehand, but during the Carolina trip, I got to see a lot more of the things that you were emphasizing. There were 2 things: play hard and talk. And
no, be a big attention. Play harder.
Play harder.
Everyone
Play
plays
harder.
hard.
Yes.
All good teams play hard, play harder. So that means if you think you're doing a good job, do a better job. So go ahead.
So play harder and talk.
Yes.
Those two things, and you're talking about focusing on Manhattan.
Yes.
Those two things, I think, I love that idea of just because I think it really does benefit the team more than maybe, and obviously I haven't coached at all, but maybe game planning. When you know what you're doing, you can let everything else take care of itself.
And it's one of those things, we do a ton of things in scouting. But I like our team. I really like this team. And I think our talent is good. So what do I mean by playing harder? Well, if we're grading you and you're at a 6 or a 7, which I think most good teams in college basketball, they play at about 7.5. And what do I mean by that? If you were to chart 10 plays, 7 to 7.5, most good teams are going to play very hard. The elite, they're playing at about 8.5, 9. And when you say, wait, I'm watching the game, no. What I mean is the shots taken, do you see 3, 4, and 5 getting to the weak side and leaving their feet for every offensive rebound? I think you'll see it 7.5 out of 10. We want 8.5, 9. So that's what we mean by play harder. I don't care about the shot. Miss it, doesn't. It's irrelevant. Play harder. That's how you make up for it. Okay, well, I dropped the ball. Okay, great. Run through it and back tip it. Not one guy, 4 guys. I think on most good teams you see 2 guys do it. We want 4 guys doing it. Talk more. Let's say we did game plan and we wanted you to switch the pick and roll, but you made a mistake and decided to trap it. Well, if 5 guys are on the same page, you're not wrong. Right. And then how do you handle that? Talking. So if I'm sitting there, okay, we're gonna trap it, we're trapping it. Well, yeah, we wanted you to switch, but all you guys were on the same page. You trapped it, you talked. And it really covers so many areas. And what it does, what I love is, it really puts the power to the players. Mm-hmm. And what we've said is, listen, this is your team. We're going to give you your framework, your blueprint of what you need to do. But if you like it, that's what's great about really having 7 juniors and seniors, that you trust them. You give them feedback. You guys don't like switching this pick and roll? What do you think? Think we should trap it? Okay, great, let's do it. Commit to it and let's do it. Play harder, talk more. And it really, really, it limits the things they have to think about. And I think that's helped this team a lot.
MAC play begins in earnest again with St. Peter's on the road. Talk about what you're seeing from this team early on.
St. Peter's is good. They've given us fits last year. They actually had us beat at home, outplayed us for 36 minutes. Remember, Brown almost had a triple-double. I listened to you on the broadcast the other night. You got a lot better from year to year. So that was a backhanded compliment. And then, at their place, it came down to basically a shot at the buzzer that they missed. It's 2 totally different teams. But their style was tough. They're a very good defensive team. They had a tough draw. They had the Buffalo swing early. They just had a great win against Seton Hall. And they knocked off Cornell the other night. So they're a tough team. And in conference play, I always believe there's no upsets in January. Mm-hmm. It's conference play. Anyone can beat anyone. All records are out the window, especially early in conference play. And we know we have to bring it. And it's going to be no easy games. Whether you're going against a great defensive team, Niagara's offense, high-powered off, whatever it is, Canisius, Billy Barron, Iona's shooters. Every team in this conference has a different thing. We're going into what I call defensive nightmare weekend. 2 teams that are just terrific defensively in Fairfield and St. Peter's that give you nothing easy and make you work for everything you get. So we have to understand that.
As you look at the conference as a whole, from the first half of the season and now here as we turn the calendar to 2014, what do you see from this conference and their strengths?
Well, I think the number one thing is the players. Mm-hmm. There is terrific players. You could take Billy Barron, Sean Armand, Mason, Ramel Brown, George Beeman, David Lowry. Mm-hmm. There's about 7 or 8 guys, and I don't want to slight anyone I'm not saying, but those guys come to mind. They could go start or be major impact guys at the elite teams in the country. Mm-hmm. I think you can see Ramel Brown starting for a lot of top 15 teams in the country. I think Billy Barron, actually, I got into a little Twitter conversation with Fran Fischel and Jeff Goodman. They were talking about how Billy Barron would be playing for an Arizona or Carolina. And I said, there's a lot of players, including Billy, that in this league that could really, so the players are really good. And people don't really understand that, how good of a shooter Sean Armand is, or how good of a scorer George Beeman is, how good of a shot blocker Ramel is. The second thing is, it's a dangerous conference. I think this year, I don't know if, let's say we had, like a couple of years ago, I thought we had 4 teams that could win a game in the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we have that, But what I do think we have is on any given night, we have 6 or 7 extremely dangerous teams that could, one, not only win the MAC tournament, but then really cause problems on a neutral site or in a postseason situation. So I don't know if it maybe has, I don't know if you're going to look at the non-conference schedules and results and see, well, the MAC really fared well, but I think what you see is like Siena has Purdue to the wire and almost beats them. Canisius has Notre Dame to the wire, almost beats them. There's been some very, very close games where we've scared some people, and I think that's very typical of this conference.
So as you look forward towards St. Peter's, what are some of the things that you notice on film that are going to be keys to watch for?
Well, I think the number one thing is we have to understand that we can't give them anything easy, and we have to be ready to play. I still worry about this team. They understand how they're viewed. We know who we are in here, but I don't think we understand what the people outside of this room say about us, good, bad, or indifferent. And what do I mean by that? Well, you're looking at a St. Peter's team that this win for their program is a great win. Beating Manhattan now, I think our RPI was 42 last week, 43 last week. You're 9-2, top 5 mid-major team in the country. It's a great win for other programs, which it should be. The same way we looked at Iona a year ago or 2 years ago, or Loyola, or that being, it's very cyclical in this conference. So we have to understand that teams are coming out, they're ready they want to kill us right away, and we're kind of coming in and throwing jabs. We need to come in and throw knockout punches right away. And we have to understand the magnitude and urgency other teams are approaching us with. We also can't give up. What you want to see as your team grows is the little things get better. You take away underneath out of bounds. You don't give up free throw blockouts. You dominate loose ball situations. You don't give away points. You're not committing fouls 85 feet from the basket that have no impact on the play. So I want to see all those areas cleaned up, because now you're really improving as a basketball team. And I think if we can do those things against St. Peter's, it's a great start going into the rest of the conference.
Jaspers 9-2, 2-0 in the MAC. They look to go.
How have your first 11 games
been? Good. I mean,
how'd you rate the team?
Knowing you, obviously from myself, I would put them up a little bit higher. You're obviously
so A being very good, F obviously being failing.
I would put.
What would you give?
B minus. Right
B minus. What would you like to see us
at
improve?
9-2? Honestly, there isn't much in terms of improvement. I think at times there have been games where the rebounding could obviously be a little bit better. My mentality of that scoring has been washed away over the last couple of years. So seeing contributions from guys in terms of the hustle plays to get back on defense, in terms of trapping, and the communication has improved so much in the last few games for this team. And you're starting to finally see 5, 7, 8, 9 guys, it doesn't matter who they are on the court, being able to play together and being able to work.
So you like where we're going?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
I'm just curious.
And at 9-2, this team is playing as one of the best teams in the New York City area. So
one of the best in New York City? Who else is playing?
I would only, simply because of...
See, I think that's a very media thing to say.
Yes, it is.
I think there's...
It is.
I mean,
I will say
that's very politically correct.
I will say this.
Who else?
The only other team that should even be in a conversation, I think, is St. John's, simply because they are St. John's, and a couple of weeks ago they had...
They are, what does that mean, they are St. John's?
The history of that program in terms of the name St. John's.
History?
Yes.
Okay.
And
so you're giving them a little credit. I like that. I'm a big St. John's fan.
And a couple of weeks ago they had number 2 Syracuse beat at home.
Okay.
And that would be those are the 2 best teams in New York City, and that includes Brooklyn and the Knicks. So right now, because of the way that they're playing.
So you put St. John's. Who's your Power 5 in New York? St. John's.
In terms of college?
Yeah.
St. John's, Manhattan.
1. Manhattan 2.
I would put Iona at 3, even
Iona
though
at 3.
I'm not a huge fan of them being considered metro area.
They're metro area. They're New York.
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to see LA.
Fordham beat us.
Fordham. I know Fordham, and Fordham's playing well too.
I think Fordham might be the best team right now in New York. How about
really?
that? Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
they're very dangerous.
They are. They are a scary team, especially if you get their guys playing the way they did against us.
Yeah.
The way they did here.
They're a little scary. St. John's is very good. So. But I was just curious who you like. That's interesting.
And I think it could be something. Philadelphia has it, the Big 5.
Yeah.
I would love to see something similar here in New York.
Listen, I'd love it too.
Fordham, Seton Hall, Manhattan, St. John's.
You know who you're not talking about, who I have the most respect for, probably, and then I respect everyone? Columbia. They had St. John's beat the other night.
They did.
They had them down to the wire.
So.
Yeah. I think we should start a big neutral site. All of us have to play each other.
I love it.
Why don't you start that?
I love it.
Start
We'll
off
make it
with
happen.
us in St. John's, and we'll rotate it every year. I'd love to get that series going.
I think it would be a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
I think it would be something to help bring college basketball back in New York City.
I think you should get going on it. You're not doing anything else. You have a lot of free time.
Yes, I have a lot of free time. The Jaspers take on St. Peter's on January 2nd. You can hear the live broadcast on gojaspers.com. If you want to ask Coach a question, you can tweet us at gojaspers. You can email us, gojaspers@manhattan.edu. Don't forget you can follow Coach on Twitter at @Steve_Masiello, and you can get into any Twitter conversation you would like.
And we got Ramel Brown coming on this
Yes.
week. He will be on the show, so get your questions ready for him. And Fordham almost had Harvard, who I think Harvard's New York City basketball.
Pretty solid. Thanks for joining us inside Manhattan Basketball.